What's up, guys? This is Big D, and once again, you're watching Big D Films. I'd like to welcome you to a special edition of Road Stories. And once again, I am not in my studio. I am still coming to you from my hotel room in Traverse City. I just completed my second day of my trip, going around the Leelanau Peninsula, checking out Sleeping Bear Dunes, and just riding around all over the place in this area. So I wanted to bring you guys a special a special edition of Road Stories as a part of Remember the Undertaker month. And this road story takes us back to, I believe, quote me on this, but it's got to be mid-2013, I believe, for this one. And being that this is Remember the Undertaker month, this one has to deal with the Undertaker. Now, back in this time, this is probably the summer. It was summer of 2013. Me and two other guys from the club, we decided, we're gonna go on a little road trip. We wanted to just put some miles down on these bikes, and so we came up with a trip, and we were gonna go. I think it was three or 4 days. 3 days sounds about right. The trip just kind of like this one that I'm on right now, but we decided we're gonna head up to Mackinac City, and we're gonna go across the bridge. We're gonna go up to Sault Ste. Marie and all that stuff, and then come back the third day. Well, we ride up there, no problems. I want to emphasize, though, before I get too far, that the back tire on the Undertaker was pretty bad. It was pretty bald. And I knew this before going on this trip, but at that particular time, like a lot of times, money is tight. Okay? Didn't have a lot of extra money. I knew the tire was bad, but at that point, I was already looking forward to this trip, right? And I had one of two options. I could either replace the tire and most likely miss the trip, or I can take the trip and worry about the tire when I get back. Not the smartest of ideas, but that's the way I decided to do it. I didn't want to miss out on this. I'd been looking forward to it for too long. I really wanted to go. And so I figured, even if I got to park the bike for a little while, I'll build up my funds, I'll get a tire, once I get back from this trip. So again, we get all the way up there, no problems. Little side note, actually, we get, and this, I don't know why this is a thing, but every time we try to go somewhere as a group, or even just me personally, like this trip here, dealing with all the rain, we're always like this close. Like we barely miss a lot of these storms and stuff, and this one was no different. We get maybe 5 miles from the hotel. I mean, we can even see the Mackinac Bridge off in the distance, and the sky went black. I mean, we didn't have a problem the whole way up, but the sky it looked like the apocalypse was coming. We get the rest of the way into Mackinac City. We roll into the hotel parking lot right underneath their awning, and then downpour, torrential downpour, like we had just made it. Well, we were sitting there watching the news that night, and the storm had nearly blown an entire semi-truck and trailer over the side of the bridge. I mean, the Mackinac Bridge is a suspension bridge, so it kind of got hung up in the cables and stuff. It didn't go over, but it almost did. So I remember we got up the next day and we were eating breakfast, and we had saw this, and we were kind of looking at each other because we were trying to go over the bridge that day. And I thought, do we really want to do this? Does this sound like a good idea? None of us had ever been over the bridge on the motorcycles before. I'd been over the bridge a couple times, in a car or whatever when I was younger, but never on a motorcycle. And so we debated back and forth. You know what? We've already come this far. What are the odds of that? I mean, they've opened the bridge back up. It's fine. So we get on the bridge. We start going across. Now, the Mackinac Bridge has 2 lanes going back and forth. The 2 outer side lanes are paved. The two middle lanes are like a metal grating. Well, the paved lanes were under construction this time. Well, of course they were, right? So we had to ride on the grates. And those tires wanted to find those little grooves in the grates, and we were kind of doing one of these numbers, the whole way. And on top of that, you look down right quick, and you can see all the way down to the water, and you're like, oh my God, that is a long way down. So going over the bridge for the first time on the motorcycle was a trip. I've done it a few more times since then, and it's fine, but that first time was like, wow, what a difference, right? Well, anyways, we go up over the bridge, we go all the way to Sault Ste. Marie, we check out the Soo Locks, all that stuff, we come back, we're hanging out at the hotel, and we, call it a night. Well, the next day, we get up, and we get prepared to make the trek back home. Well, we left the hotel, we stopped at a local Wendy's or something, I think it was, just some little fast food joint to get a little quick bite to eat before we hit the road, and we're sitting there. And I happened to look down at the back of my bike, and I just happened to notice something stuck out to me. And something didn't look right, so it caught my eye just right. So I went down to look at it, and this is what I saw. I had no idea that this tire was this bad. You see that spot, like the wires showing right through and everything, and I saw that and I almost lost it. I'm like, I can't believe that this is that bad. I had no idea that this tire was that bad. Obviously by the picture you could tell it was bad. I already knew it was really, really bad. I had no business riding this motorcycle with this tire on it, and I already knew that. But again, I'm stubborn and I wasn't about to miss out on this trip, but I had no idea that spot in the center of that tire was like that. Didn't have a clue. So now I'm freaking out, right? I'm like, oh man. Oh, I had no idea, and I rode all this way, a couple 100 miles over the bridge, on the grates, everything with this tire like this. I'm thinking, I got to get home. It's a Sunday, right? It's a Sunday. And most of these little shops and stuff up here are closed on Sundays. I found that out a couple different times. And so I'm like, I'm not getting a tire today. That's not going to happen. And we are several hours away from anybody else that I know. There's nobody coming up here to get me. So I have one option here. I'm going to have to ride this thing all the way back home like this. And again, obviously I had already rode that far with it like that. I just didn't know that the wires were showing through in the middle of that tire like that. So now it's just in the back of my mind, right? So I'm paranoid about it the whole rest of the way back home. Well, before we even left, I noticed the tire and I looked at it and I'm like, oh man, that's not good. So, our road captain, I told him, I said, look, I didn't know this was like this. I mean, we're going to have to try to take it easy or something. I don't know, but I know we got to try to get home. And he looked at it like, yeah, that's pretty bad. And so it's like, all right, we know about it. Keep it in the back of our mind. We saddle back up on the bikes, and we jump on the freeway doing about 85. Like I hadn't even just said something about it, right? We just jump on the freeway, we're cruising 80, 85 miles an hour, literally all the way back home for several hours like this. Just in the back of my mind going, don't fail on me now, don't fail on me now, don't fail on me now. Just let me get home. Just let me get home. I'm parking the thing until I get the money to fix this, but just let me get home. I was paranoid about it the whole damn time. Well, luckily, the Undertaker was good to me, and those tires, that tire held up, and I did get all the way back home. But I tell you, it was, talk about worrisome. Having to worry about something like that all the way back home, it made the last leg of that trip a little more interesting. So that's my story, you guys. But actually, by the time we got back home, I looked at the odometer. It was like 1,000 miles. We did like 1,020 miles or something that weekend. So 1,000 miles on this messed up tire. It was bad. It was really bad. But again, so that's my story, you guys, of 1,000 miles on that damaged tire. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. If you have any stories like this, or some kind of malfunction out on a trip or just some other ride, let me know. Drop them in the comments below. And if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on the next road story. Until next time, I am Big D. You've been watching Big D Films. And until next time, we'll catch you down the road.